A high-speed crash tonight in Old Louisville leaves the driver dead and a nearby restaurant on fire. We've got the latest on a late developing story. Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us on the WHAS 11 night team. I'm Doug Proffitt. It all happened at 2nd and Oak tonight. Police say the car first hit a tree. That's where WHAS 11 night teams Taylor Woods and photojournalist Elijah McKenzie pick up the story. They are live, where they also talk to people who were inside when it happened. Taylor, police still on the scene?
Absolutely. Well, Doug, if you take a look, Louisville fire crews are still on scene. It looks like there's about less than a dozen firefighters still making sure there's not a danger to the public right here. But if you take a look to the left, you can see where that crash happened at, where the car came and crashed the tree near this building right here at 2nd and Oak Street. You can kind of see that the road is still blocked off to traffic right here. One couple was actually sitting inside by the window when it happened, and they told me that they were scared once they realized what had happened.
And I looked, and it started getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and then I heard a big pop.
Just before 6:30 Friday evening, Louisville Metro Police investigators say a car was speeding on Oak Street when it hit a parked car and a tree at 2nd Street. The car and tree caught on fire, spreading to a nearby ramen restaurant. Quentin Carr and his girlfriend were sitting inside next to the window when it happened.
It was just really loud. We didn't really know it was happening until it was over.
Carr says it happened all within a matter of seconds. He and his girlfriend panicked.
You could feel like through the air there was like vibration. Stuff was thrown up against the window, like I guess tree bark or maybe some shrapnel or something.
Louisville Fire says one person died inside the vehicle and a firefighter was taken to the hospital and is expected to be okay. Carr and his girlfriend ran to the middle of the restaurant before it was evacuated.
My girlfriend was with me and she had her phone on the table, and we just got up and left immediately. Didn't even realize we left the phone in there until it was, the whole place was on fire.
The fire was so large it caused damage to the attic and the apartment above the restaurant, where some people will be displaced.
Got up to that 2nd floor to make sure that the fire didn't spread any further. Got in through the roof as well. It took about 40 minutes for the 50 firefighters to get it under control.
We're told this restaurant has been open for less than a year. While police continue their investigation, Carr and others are grateful no one else was injured.
Thinking, it could have been him, could have been us.
We're just happy to be here with, safe.
And police are still working to determine if anyone else was inside the car when it crashed, and Louisville fire crews will remain on scene for the next few hours to make sure everything is okay. Reporting live in Old Louisville, Taylor Woods, WHAS 11 night team on your side.
Taylor, thank you. And now, just into the newsroom, we're following more breaking news here on the WHAS 11 night team tonight. As you can see, live crews from PRP. Fire crews are on the scene of an apartment fire. You're looking at the scene, which is on Fort Haven Road. That's off St. Anthony Church Road. Now, this is just southwest of Iroquois Park, again in the south end. Dispatchers tell us crews were first called to the scene at about 10 o'clock tonight. While the crews have it under control now, the fire chief on the scene tells us the entire apartment had heavy fire. It was vacant, we're told, and they are now investigating how that fire started. Again, as you see, a live update there on Fort Haven Road. New tonight, newly released investigative files show more than one Louisville Metro police officer failed to turn on their body camera the morning that golfer Scottie Scheffler was arrested outside Valhalla during the PGA Championship. The Jefferson County attorney has since dismissed the charges against the golfer. According to the documents, investigators found Detective Brian Gillis, Detective Kelvin Watkins, and Officer Javar Downs all violated policy when they did not turn on their cameras. All three had to fill out failure to activate forms. Gillis, the arresting officer, was counseled. In the documents, investigators also addressed Gillis's decision to reach into Scheffler's car. While not a violation of policy, Lieutenant Craig Browning did call it, quote, tactically poor decision-making, noting that the charges at the time were only traffic offenses. Browning also writes that Scheffler, quote, shares responsibility in this event, saying some people simply cannot ignore instructions from police or security guards. Now, those new documents were released just this afternoon, along with hours of body camera video after the incident between Gillis and Scheffler. Remember, the mayor and the police chief have said that there is no video of the initial contact. WHAS 11's Shay McAllister takes us through the new footage.
Our first look at the golf champion in the moments after he is taken into custody.
I'm terribly sorry.
With a trembling voice, Scottie Scheffler apologizes to the officers.
I was trying to get to my tee time.
Multiple officers around him shining a light as they work to get cuffs around his wrists. Scheffler looks stunned.
Keep my arms back there, I promise. Man, I'm about to get arrested. I'm trying to get to a tee time.
The handcuffs are clicked into place and Scheffler offers his first explanation. He says he was afraid.
He did tell me to stop, but as I went by him, he grabbed my arm and I was afraid. I couldn't tell he was a police officer.
Scheffler has walked over to a police vehicle.
Can you please help me?
Keep going.
Asking multiple people to help him. And as the car door opens, he begs police to hear him out.
Are we able to just talk for a second?
Police ignore those pleas, instead putting him into the back of the car. They ask him if he's had anything to drink.
Mouthwash.
That's it?
Yeah, I woke up about a half hour ago.
Okay, put your feet in for me.
Scheffler is shut inside the car, and Detective Brian Gillis, the arresting officer, lifts his pant leg, seemingly to show another officer his injuries.
Are you okay?
Yeah. Oh, just scraped me. What happened?
The video is redacted here, muted, until Gillis says this.
I want to go. I'm like, I'm just telling you to stop. We're just flooring.
The video is then muted again. Meanwhile, officers start trying to figure out who's in the back of the police SUV.
What's your last name?
Scheffler?
Scheffler?
Yes, sir.
As the officer takes notes, Scheffler offers up what he thought was the obvious when he pulled up to the golf course just minutes ago.
I'll be right back.
Are you guys aware that I am playing in the golf tournament?
Okay, I'll talk to you in a second. Put your knee in.
Oh, sorry.
When the officer returns, Scheffler's read his Miranda rights, and then he's eager to give his side of the story.
And as I was pulling in, my window was down, and the officer told me to stop. And as first of all, I did not know that he was a police officer. As he was reaching in the car, he grabbed my shoulder and hit me, like
Trying to get you to stop, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It seemed to be a little bit over aggressive because the entrance was open.
Okay.
And I pulled a little bit because I was afraid. I thought he was going to start hitting me, and I didn't know who he was. He just hit me with his flashlight and yelled, "Get out of the car."
The conversation continues, and then Detective Gillis walks over to the car. This is his camera. Scheffler asks, "Are you the one I hit?"
Are you the one that I dragged? I'm sorry. Sir, I did not know you were a police officer. I'm terribly sorry.
With that, Detective Gillis walks away, and Scheffler learns what's coming next for him.
I don't think it'd be good with you riding with him, since if you do go to jail. Okay, I'm gonna put you in this car over here. All right.
Scheffler is moved into another police car, the one that will eventually take him to jail.
And photos included in the newly released files take a look also show the injuries Gillis, the officer, sustained during the incident, a hurt wrist and a knee. And we're getting a better look at those ripped pants right here. Scheffler attorney Steve Romine said he doesn't believe Gillis was dragged by the car, but Gillis has always maintained that he was dragged. For a closer look at the video and the new files, we've got it all laid out for you at WHAS11.com. All new right now tonight, neighbors living in eastern Jefferson County are on alert after an increase in stolen car reports and break-ins. Louisville Metro Police say they're focusing patrols around the Norton Commons area after a rise in reported car and garage thefts. Police departments in Anchorage and Indian Hills have also posted about people going through vehicles. One Indian Hills resident tells us he's being more careful following the reports.
When we first moved in, we didn't even feel like we needed a security system. And that's something that you can't be naive about. And now, I'm sure that people that before thought, oh yeah, this neighborhood is great, I don't need a Ring camera or I don't need whatever, they're gonna look at that and now feel like maybe they do.
LMPD advises bringing in any valuables from your cars overnight, like laptops, golf clubs, or electronics. And they say to make sure you lock your cars, obviously. And if you see a person acting suspiciously in the area, say something by calling police. New on the WHAS 11 night team, Kentucky State Representative running for re-election is now disqualified from the ballot. The Kentucky Supreme Court ruled today that Nima Kulkarni is disqualified as a candidate for the 40th District, which includes much of South Louisville. Kulkarni received the most votes in the Democratic primary last month. Kulkarni's predecessor challenged her eligibility in a lawsuit, claiming her campaign improperly filed her election paperwork. Following this ruling, what happens next is still uncertain. Kulkarni's attorney, James Craig, said in a statement, it's now up to the Jefferson County Democratic Party and district officers to nominate a candidate. He says, quote, Representative Kulkarni will certainly seek that nomination and she is eligible for it, end quote. A spokesperson for the Jefferson County Clerk's office says the election wasn't certified yet and that they are awaiting more clarification from the Kentucky Supreme Court. Only right here on WHAS 11 News. If you got a parking ticket in Louisville during a 4-year period, you may be able to get your parking fine back. A jury rules against Louisville's parking authority in a class action lawsuit that was first filed 17 years ago. Two local attorneys, David Maurer and Joe Souza, claimed that state parking statutes were not enforced properly between 2004 and 2008. The jury ruled against Park late yesterday, and Maurer tells us awarded $1.7 million. He says about 130,000 people paid tickets but didn't get certified notices of their appeal rights.
We learned in this case from Park's own witnesses that these people are making rounds every 45 minutes to an hour. And, you know, if you're 2 minutes late out of a meeting, they're going to cite you. They're booting, they're disabling cars. And, you know, were all those people guilty of parking violations? We'll never know because their appeal rights were gone.
Maurer says those who qualify for a refund of their fine from that period will get notice through the U.S. mail or even email. The Jefferson County Attorney Mike O'Connell's office sent WHAS 11 News a statement today saying it is considering possible options for appeal in this case, going on to say the case addressed how Park issued follow-up notices on parking citations between the years 2004-2008 and does not involve the agency's current practices or leadership. Now, moving on to the TARC Board, the Transit Authority of River City. They've given their stamp of approval to a plan that would contract drivers over to JCPS. Under the deal, 70 TARC drivers would be given the option to contract out as drivers to help alleviate the school district's bus driver shortage. It comes as TARC drivers also face layoffs amid financial issues and service reductions. In addition to filling driver positions, those drivers could also help restore transportation to some JCPS magnet and traditional school students. And they are set to lose it all this fall, as you know. The JCPS board is expected to vote on the plan coming up on June 25th. Well, meantime, JCPS made it official today, announcing a vacant site at 18th and Broadway is going to be the new home for Hudson Middle School. Molina Healthcare, which bought the land in 2022, is donating it to JCPS. They're going to keep a small portion for a health clinic and insurance services. The site was once home to the Philip Morris Cigarette Company and was going to become the new headquarters for Passport Health until it fell through, leaving the steel shell abandoned on the lot. One parent tells us this announcement is a victory for all of West Louisville.
Showing our young people that they are well deserving of brand new and sparkly things, you know, changing the narrative of West Louisville and having corporate investors pour into West Louisville just as much as members of the community is an amazing thing.
Right now, Hudson students are going to a school in temporary space. JCPS expects this new building to open in 2026.